to Success Matters. Success Matters is a podcast series about everyday people sharing what success means to them. I've noticed that when we think about success, we have different viewpoints. When we look at things like the media, and social media particularly, success is often positioned as something like a fast car, a fancy house, a lifestyle that maybe some of us could never live up to. So I wanted to speak to people I know about what success means to them and understand from them how they would approach a successful life. I hope you really enjoy this series. I'm sure you'll get a lot out of it, as I've been speaking to friends and people that I know about what success means to them. I've learned so much from them. Enjoy the series, and if you'd like to find out more about success and how you can find your success, contact me at info@successmatterscoaching.com. That's info@successmatterscoaching.com. I'm joined today by Ruta Stasiunaite, who's redefining success and who suggests we should live our lives inside out. So Ruta, I've been following you for a while on LinkedIn, and you've got a different approach to many other people that do sort of coaching sort of things on LinkedIn. So I was really intrigued by your approach and what you do. But let's start with, you live in Portugal right now, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. It's been 2 years. I'm on the southwest coast of Portugal. I live in a tiny, tiny village of about 100 people. And wow, that is after living in cities for about 10 years, in Berlin, in Brussels, in the Netherlands, and in a lot of different places, which were, city-like. One day I just got tired of city life and I thought, you know what, I will just go to Portugal and enjoy the beach.
How did you find the transition from city to a small village with, you said, about 100 people, right?
It's amazing. I feel so much more connected to who I am because spending time in nature is crucial for my soul, and to be able to go to the beach, to the cliffs, and see this power of the ocean is just charging my energy every single time, and it blows my mind every single time. So honestly, I don't really miss it very much, even though I could live in a city in some way, but it's not something that I yearn for, and it's not something that I necessarily need. It's just like, I will see where my life, brings me.
No, I think that connection to nature really resonates with me as well. Yeah, nature is so powerful in just changing who you are at particular points in time, right? And your description of the ocean and the waves, it's like I was there as you were talking. Like, I can imagine the power of the sea is so massive, and the power of water as well. It's just like amazing. So you produce a lot of content. You've got YouTube videos and you've got blogs and everything. You talk about post-Soviet era to now. So what does that journey look like? And it must have been quite different from growing up in a post-Soviet era to where you are now.
Absolutely, it's a big difference between where I used to be and where I am. And I was born in Soviet Union. Actually, my father found my birth certificate when I was in Lithuania last time. It literally says Soviet Union. And
Okay.
I was like, ooh, okay, I was born in Soviet Union. Oh, alrighty. And a couple of months later, it broke down and Lithuania became independent. And so as I was growing up, I experienced a lot of adversity. I experienced a lot of scarcity. My family wasn't the richest, and I had to wear my older brother's clothes sometimes. I remember when I was maybe 5 years old, on a very hot summer day, I asked my dad if I could have ice cream, and he said we didn't have enough money for ice cream. And those kind of experiences imprinted this belief that you have to work really, really, really hard in order to live a good life, in order to enjoy life. You have to suffer in order to create a good life. And so fast forward to today, I live a completely different life with a completely different belief system, where it's no longer about the money, although money is very important, and we all know about the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, of course, it's very important. However, I turn it all around, and now my number one priority is feeling good. And what
Hmm.
feels good is going to bring you all the other things, and everything will align basically because you will feel abundant and loved, and everything will be created from the inside out. So that's the biggest shift that happened, from scarcity to suddenly feeling abundant no matter what's happening externally in your environment. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, that's very powerful. That's very powerful. How did you make that shift? Because I can imagine it's very difficult for people to make that shift. So what did you do to make that shift?
It's been a journey. It's been a journey. First of all, it's been a journey because I, as many other people out there, have lived my life in a program, in a sense. I was programmed to follow expectations and to
Hmm.
follow the typical steps in life. Finish high school, go to the university, date someone, get married, have kids. I didn't do those things, but basically all of these things were in my head as a potential plan of how my life was supposed to unfold.
Yeah.
Now, at some point, I realized, wait a second, that's not who I am, and that's not how I want to live my life. I don't want to live my life because that's what's expected of me, or that's how things are normally in the society. I'm not saying that I don't want to have kids or that I don't want to get married or that I don't believe in that. It's just that that pressure made me feel like, wait a second, there's something not quite right here. I
Hmm.
don't enjoy feeling under pressure while I'm just like 20 or so. At the time I was, in my 20s, and I thought, wait a second, I just want to have fun in life, and I want to do great things, and I want to do something that I'm passionate about, and I want to be with the right person and not to
Hmm.
rush into a committed relationship. And so back in 2018, almost 5 years ago now, I hit the rock bottom by finding myself in the situation where I was in the wrong relationship,
Hmm.
in the wrong career, in the wrong environment, with the wrong people. And I was just feeling so much anxiety and stress. And I was deeply, deeply unhappy, even though on the surface it looked like I was this super bubbly and positive person.
Yeah.
But deep down, I didn't have what people saw in me on the superficial level. So
Uh-huh.
that's when I started questioning myself. Wait a second, like, why do I already in my, I was 28 at the time. Why do I already feel so much negativity, so much like somehow misalignment, as if I'm living a lie, as if my life is decided for me and I don't
Hmm.
have the word in my own decisions. And so when I started questioning all of that, that's when I started really changing the way I perceived my reality. That's when I realized that I am the one who decides how my life unfolds. And sure, you have to face what other people will say,
Hmm.
what your parents will say, what your friends will say, what your spouse will say, and all of these kind of things. But if you start questioning yourself, when you start asking yourself, why do you make these kind of decisions? Why are you choosing this? Do you really want to live like that? Do you really want to be in that relationship? Do you really want that career? And so you basically start unpacking and kind of unpeeling the onion one by one,
Yeah.
layer by layer. And then you start realizing, actually, I have the power to decide what it is that I want and how I'm going to create my new reality.
So did you have someone kind of guide you through this process? How did that moment come about where you started to question why you're
Yes,
you're doing that?
yes, absolutely. I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for mentors and coaches and
Uh-huh.
even content creators and some books. I would not ever say that I did it all by myself, because I think it's probably impossible to really transform fully without other people's help.
Yeah.
And it can even be just one conversation. It can even be just one sentence that somebody says to you, maybe even some stranger on the street. It can even be just one movie, but it can give you such an aha moment that it will wake you up out of that dream that you no longer have to experience. So in my specific case, I have tried so many different things. I can't even tell you. I spent thousands and thousands of dollars on different programs and coaches and mentors and so on. But ultimately, it was through coaching, through having kind of uncomfortable conversations sometimes, to be vulnerable and to be critically thinking about, okay, why am I doing this? Why am I behaving like this? Why am I thinking this? Why am I believing this? And so someone like a coach or a mentor that I used to work with, several of them, they would just ask me questions and be like, interesting. Why do you think this is the case? Why do you believe this to be true? And as a result of all of these conversations, I became so much more self-aware of who I was and what I wanted, that automatically my behavior changed, my actions changed, the quality of my thoughts changed. I no longer allowed lesser quality thoughts in my head because it wasn't empowering me. So I started really unpacking all of that in such a precise way because I was supported by a coach or a mentor or a program or something like that.
So it's a little bit like, this analogy might not work, but let's try it out anyway. Yeah, if you decide to get fit, if you just rock up to the gym and just try some weights or whatever, it's not going to happen. But if you start to unpack it and you create a plan, a little schedule of how you're going to do it and stop, as you say, the bad quality food going into you and making sure you get enough sleep and doing all those other things, then it starts to fall into place, right? And that's the analogy that comes to mind as you were talking about stopping those bad thoughts and, coming out of it with a whole different mindset.
Absolutely. And it's a great analogy because here's the thing. You can do it yourself, but it will just take so much more effort and so much more time that ultimately you will pay your energy and money in the shape of time and effort that you are wasting. So when somebody is helping you, like a personal trainer in the gym, you are going to get the same result that much quicker. It will bring you the same result, but maybe 10 times quicker, maybe even 100 times quicker. And a private or personal coach is going to help you to work on the muscles that you didn't even know that existed. And that coach is also going to help you to work in a holistic way, in a way that actually gives you the proportionate results. That it's not only about one part of the muscle or that part of the muscle or that, angle, but it's about the whole body, the whole essence. And that's exactly a great analogy, actually, because with the coach, you will see things that you could not see on your own.
Yeah, and I mean, I certainly find when I'm coaching or mentoring people that it also holds up a mirror to me, right? So on the one hand, you're giving them a different perspective because you're looking at them without that baggage, if you like. But at the same time, you're also looking at yourself in the process and you're learning throughout that whole process with them as you take them on that journey. I don't know if you find that the same.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's such a common experience to see when clients also go through something very similar that you have been through in the past and even in the recent past. And we actually live in a mirror universe, in a mirror universe where everything that we're experiencing is also reflected back to us. So oftentimes people don't even realize that they notice something in their reality because they have already thought about it in the recent past. And let's take an example. If you are looking to buy a new car and you're like, oh, I want a red car. Now, just because you want a red car and you have thought about it, you're going to go to the streets and you are going to start noticing red cars. That's the way brain works. It's the reticular activating system that literally makes you notice things that you already have predefined yourself to notice.
So would you say that works then to manifest what you want?
100%. Absolutely. We are creating our reality 100%. It's
Yeah.
what you pay attention to is what you ultimately create. And some people
Mhm.
might say, oh, but that's not true because what if, there are circumstances such as, I don't know, recession or whatever it is. Sure, there are some circumstances that just happen and you cannot escape them, but you always, always, always have power within on
Mhm.
how you respond. So let's say if it comes to, I don't know, relationships, for example, you want to manifest a certain type of relationship. You want to feel loved, you want to feel fulfilled, you want to feel abundant, you want to really have a good time, you want to feel understood. You want someone who is as ambitious as you are. Now, how do you manifest that? By cleaning out all the relationship patterns that brought you to where you didn't want to be anymore. So as
Mhm.
you're cleaning that out and you're starting from a clean slate, what happens then? You are then focusing on that amazing, fulfilling relationship. And because you're focusing on that, what do you do then? You feel amazing within yourself. You're like, I'm worthy of that kind of relationship. I'm worthy, I'm deserving, I'm amazing just the way I am. I have flaws and imperfections like everyone else
Mhm.
does, but the right person is going to choose me and prioritize me no matter who I am, even despite these imperfections. And because you believe that, because you're so convinced that you're worthy of that kind of level of a relationship, then ultimately it does manifest every single time. I have seen so many people, my clients and myself included as well. I can't even explain enough how many times I've seen stories and heard stories of people who, just because they allowed themselves to feel worthy of a better life, of a more fulfilling life, of a happier life, that exactly that manifested in the shape of a relationship, in the shape of business success, in the shape of a promotion, in a shape of living in the paradise that they always dreamt of
Mhm.
living in, whatever it is that they desire.
That is so powerful what you've just said there, Ruta. It's like if I could can it, that's what I'll can. And in fact, we are canning it right in this podcast. So that's something I'll be going back to, which is a good segue also to what you're currently doing, right? And it's no badass bullshit. Is that have I got that right?
Yes, that's my brand new show that's called No
Okay,
Bullshit for Badasses.
okay, that's it.
and and this show is basically it's all about the fact that we all live in stories. And as we just talked about manifestation, if you choose a story that you are not worthy, that you can't have that success, that you are doomed to live an unhappy life, or that you are never going to have an amazing relationship, then that story is going to manifest because you're paying
Hmm.
attention to it. It's also quantum physics. What you pay attention to amplifies, what you pay attention to grows. And
Mm.
so there's this observer effect in quantum physics that whatever it is that you focus on materializes. And so if you focus on something negative, then you will recreate the same reality that's negative over and over and over again. And
Yeah.
so because of these stories, I started noticing after 3 years of working with my clients and of course working on myself for over 5 years now, I realized that there's so much bullshit out there and we
Mm.
cling onto bullshit and we cling onto stories that are disempowering, that are not encouraging at all, because we pay so much attention to external circumstances and what is going on outside of ourselves. Then we recreate the same bullshit. And that's why we
Mm.
see the bullshit in our reality. And yet, on the other side of the equation, we are freaking badass within ourselves. We are so powerful. We are the creators and we can choose how our life unfolds. And so when we let go of that bullshit, when we let go of all the stories and we start basically telling a new story, a new empowering story, encouraging story, a story that actually has a positive, happy ending, that
Mhm.
is when you also start showing up in a different way. You are showing up as a badass. You are showing up as a confident human being who knows who you want, and you go after those dreams. You take different actions because you also believe in yourself, and you're like, well, of course I can have that relationship. Of course I can have that business success. I will not stop until I get it. And that is the attitude of a badass. And that's what the show is all about.
Oh, that's perfect. I watched the first one just last week, and I'm looking forward to seeing a lot more of these videos on YouTube that you're posting around this. As you know, the title of this podcast is Success Matters. So, what does success feel like for you?
Success for me, it starts from who you are being within. So it's funny because just this weekend, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and she asked me, what enabled you to manifest everything that you have right now? Like
Yeah.
living in this paradise, having an amazing man in your life, running your own business that gives you purpose, and making a living out of what you absolutely love doing. What enabled you to do all of that? And what enabled me to do all of that is prioritizing feeling great. And
Hmm.
that to me is the ultimate success. The ultimate success. And that's why my brand is called Redefining Success, is because it's not about external material toys and titles and positions and, I'm so cool and pretending that you are this person. It's not about pretension. It's about who you are being internally. And
Hmm.
when you focus on having that mental stability and emotional stability and feeling grateful for what you have and feeling empowered and feeling amazing in your own body and your own internal ecosystem, when you love yourself deeply and unconditionally, when you accept yourself and other people for who they are, that to me is the ultimate success. And what that means is because you live that way from the inside out, you in inevitably create amazing results externally, because you start
Hmm.
magnetizing success into your life externally as well, because people start coming to you, people want to be around you, people want to buy from you, people want to hang out with you, people want to date you, people want to marry you, and so on. It's just the way it works, because you're so exuding this happiness and this peace of mind and joy, that other people also want a piece of that. So that to me is what success means.
As you were talking there, you said live your life from inside out, and it just made me realize that so many of us live our life from outside in, right? All the outside factors that are around us is what affects the way we live our life. I mean, you've been saying it through this podcast is, it's from inside, but that just live your life inside out. That for me was a really powerful statement you made there.
Absolutely. And it reminds me actually of one client of mine that I have been working with the last couple of months. And he came to me because he's like, listen, I'm married with 2 kids. I have a great career. I have this great team that works for me, and so on and so forth. And yet I feel like I'm so materialistic, and it's all about external toys and having, material possessions, that I noticed I almost feel like I'm a robot. I don't
Hmm.
even know if I have feelings, if I have emotions. I don't even know if I can give love to other people. I don't even know how to really give love to my kids and my wife. And so, as a result of working with this client after 2 months now, he's like, listen, this is the first time in my life that I start feeling like a human being. I'm no longer a robot that just is chasing all these shiny objects all over the place, but I'm a human being who builds relationships. And sure, still as a result, I also get those external shiny objects because I'm great at what I do, but it's not the point. The point is that I am being happy and I am being aligned and I have feelings and I notice those feelings and I'm in control of my emotions and I'm in control of my thoughts. And that made all the difference for this human being.
And so is that why you've recently decided that you're going to work with men in their 40s and 50s? Was that kind of the driver that made you think, actually, there's a real need for this here?
Partly, yes. So
Okay.
the reason why I decided to work with men in 40s and 50s is because, well, there are many reasons, but one of the reasons is that I personally resonate with men a lot, and I have a lot of men in my life, not only my brother, my father, a lot of male friends, but also simply because I have worked with a lot of male clients in their 40s and 50s. And what I started noticing as a pattern amongst all these men, wherever they came from, if they came from Lithuania, if they came from Portugal, if they came from Germany, if they came from France, Netherlands, Canada, the US, UK, it doesn't quite matter where they come from and what
Yeah.
their situation in life is. What is the thread, the common thread amongst all these men is that they have lived a life which is all about, I need to prove myself as a man, and I have undermined myself of who I truly am all these years, and I feel so disconnected from who I am. And yet this is the right time for me to do something about it, because I'm 40, 50, and I don't know how many more years I have left to live, maybe 20, maybe 30, I don't know. But I start feeling time pressure, and I start feeling that I have ticked all the boxes. I have the career, I have the family, I have all the things that a successful man is supposed to have, and yet I still don't feel the happiness. I still don't feel the fulfillment. Like, I put all this effort, I worked so hard, and yet I still feel lost. Where is my happiness? I thought that I would be happy. I thought that I would earn it by now. So when I started noticing that in my clients, I was like, wait a second. There's something fundamental here. And so when I decided to work with men in 40s, 50s, specifically build healthy romantic relationships, is because they need to build the relationship with themselves first. And why I focus on romantic relationships also is because I realized that because they have ticked all the boxes, they actually really want to feel the intimacy, connection, love, fulfillment with the person that they choose to feel authentically be with, to be with them, right? And ultimately, because they build healthy, lasting relationships, it also makes them more productive, makes them more excited, makes them more creative, makes them more at ease. They sleep better at night. They feel better in their body. They feel more confident. And therefore, all of the things in life become so much more effortless because their romantic relationship is like a safe haven instead of kind of like, it's not really what I want, and it's depleting, and it feels like something is missing, and they're stressed, and there's this, lack of intimacy, lack of feeling like at home, and feeling just anxious even to go back home.
And so it is about living inside out, right? It's really that aspect. You're doing this now. What else have you got in the pipeline? What's coming downstream for you?
That's a great question. So in the pipeline, we have some events going on with ngbn.tv. It's a network for men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. And we have incredible content creators, fellow coaches just like me, and people who have been through adversities in life. And right now, I'm actually the only female in the team. There are a lot of other males helping other males in 40s, 50s, 60s. And what we are doing together is not only that we're creating content on a daily basis on our own, but we also organize events, online events, as well as in 2023, we're going to plan and organize some real life events so that we can actually gather communities of men to really strive to live a better life, to become better versions of themselves, to become better fathers, to become better brothers, to become better husbands, to become better sons, leaders, business owners, and so on and so forth. So that's what's in the pipeline, which I'm extremely excited about, because it's literally going to change so many men's lives for the better, as well as it will create a ripple effect, because if you as a man are happy with yourself, you also basically create a ripple effect, because you affect your family, you affect your community, you affect your colleagues, your business partners, everybody around you.
Everything you're saying today, Ruta, it resonates so much with me. It's been a fantastic conversation so far. One of the things that I'm doing as part of this podcast, and it's really from Steve Bartlett's Diary of a CEO. He asks guests to write a question that he will ask the next guest. I'm doing it slightly differently in that I'm recording it, and we will ask the next guest this question. So the last guest asked me to ask you,
who's your favorite person that you haven't met yet?
Oh, interesting. Who is my favorite person I haven't met yet? It's the future version of myself who has changed thousands and thousands of people's lives. And the reason why I want to meet that person is because I want to see how everything unfolds exactly the way it's supposed to unfold, even if it's not always easy. Even if there are moments when you're like, what the hell is going on? How am I doing this? Why am I making so many mistakes? And I'm sharing this because some people would say, oh, she has all her shit together and she knows what she's talking about and all of that stuff. Sure, but there's always something to work on, and we're all in this together, and it's a path. So one day when I will be like, oh wow, I have changed thousands and thousands of people's lives, I will look back and be like, actually, I didn't have to worry. It was just a part of the journey.
And is that the same advice you'd give your younger self? Like, so from now, looking back to, I don't know, your 20-year-old self or so?
Probably, yes. And I would also have added to a younger version of myself to start my journey sooner. And it's something that, I mean, I couldn't have known. It happened the way it happened. But in a sense, I wish I didn't wait that long. I wish I reached out for help sooner. I wish I had the guts to say, I need help. I want to live a better life. I want to be happier. And I didn't hide from the world, from other people. I didn't pretend that everything was fine when it wasn't. I would have said, just go and ask for help.
So Ruta, if people want to get in touch with you, how should they get in contact with you?
They can get in contact with me via email. So send an email to hello@redefiningsuccess.co.uk. You can also find me on YouTube as Ruta Redefining Success, as well as you can find me on my website, redefiningsuccess.co.uk.
And what questions should I ask my next guest?
If you could choose a new empowering story that you are going to live from now on, what that story would be? Well,
I think we're run out of time now, Ruta, so thank you very much for everything that you've shared today. The insights have been really great. As I said, for me, the thing that resonated was live your life inside out. I thought that's such a powerful way to think about what you do and getting what you want from life. So thank you once again for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been an honor. It's been a great conversation. I really enjoyed it, Sanjay. And I wish you all the best also in your endeavors and whatever it is that you're doing with your coaching and helping other people.
Thank you. To find your success, contact me at info@successmatterscoaching.com. That's info@successmatterscoaching.com.